Welcome to ILTV's Israel Daily. I'm Aaron Porras, and coming up in today's newscast, COVID-19 cases hit a new high yet again, with the government fearing that the worst is still on the horizon. Israel and the United States defend annexation plans on the world stage against a torrent of criticisms, and excavations in Jerusalem reveal a more modern part of Israeli history, in one of the most ancient of places. Very far from over. It seems COVID-19 infections in Israel are just getting started. Health ministry officials now reporting that large events may have to be scaled back in terms of their size just a month after allowing them to open for up to 250 people, saying, "We may have opened too quickly, and the public is not disciplined or wearing masks enough." Alarm bells fully ringing now. The health ministry reporting the latest surge of COVID-19 infections in Israel, hitting a massive 532 new cases in just the past 24 hours. This is the largest daily Israeli jump in infections since early April. Health ministry officials also predicting the number to rise sharply to as many as over 1,000 new daily cases within the coming week. Taking bad to worse, head of public health services Professor Sigal Sedetsky saying our ability to track the spread of infection is collapsing. The total number of active cases now at about 5,800, the death toll holding at 308. But the Israeli public mainly feeling unafraid even as closures across the country resume in select cities.
אני ממש לא חושש משום דבר פה, האנשים בעיר ממושמעים, כולם עם מסכות, לא נכנסים לחנות יותר מה שהתו הסגול בעצם מתיר, הכל הולך פה, מתנהל פה לפי ההחלטות של משרד הבריאות, לכן אין ממה לחשוש.
Residents in the Palestinian Authority likewise feeling good with the relatively low infection rate in spite of recent shutdowns in cities like Nablus and Hebron.
الصحة أبدأ من الاقتصاد، فأنا يعني مع الإغلاق، هذا الإغلاق إذا في وراءه بنقدر نحصل جائحة كورونا، جائحة عالمية وخطيرة. نحمد الله إنه فلسطين إحنا يعني أقل خطر من غيرنا.
Meanwhile, not taking any chances, the government is now pushing forward with plans to renew its phone tracking program in law. The bill passing its first of 3 votes in the Knesset, with 44 in favor and 32 against Wednesday night, and in spite of the Shin Bet Security Services protest.
אני ביקשתי להאיץ את פיתוח האפליקציה שנועדה להשיג את האפליקציה הדיגיטלית שנועדה להשיג את היעד הזה. זה ייקח זמן. שבועות, אני מקווה שלא חודשים. עד אז אנחנו מבקשים להשלים את החקיקה בשימוש בכלי הדיגיטלי של השב"כ. אנחנו מלווים את החקיקה הזאת במתגים של הפעלה ועצירה, שלטרים, לעצור ולהפעיל. אני מקווה שלא נצטרך בכלל להפעיל אותו. The controversial bill's second and third readings are scheduled already for next week. Just 5 days to go before Israel's July 1 start date to begin the process of West Bank annexations. Israeli Mossad head Yossi Cohen arriving now in Jordan to meet with King Abdullah II to hammer out some of the details. But of course, the international community is weighing in with its 2 cents. The whole world weighing in now on Israel's possible upcoming decision to annex Jewish parts of Judea and Samaria or the West Bank. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres calling on Israel to abandon its plans, saying it would illegally and grievously harm chances for a 2-state solution.
We are at a watershed moment. Israel's threat to annex parts of the occupied West Bank has alarmed Palestinians, many Israelis, and the broader international community. I urge Israeli and Palestinian leaders to commit to meaningful dialogue with the support of the international community.
Similarly attacking the move, Palestinian Foreign Minister Riyad al-Maliki joining the chorus of critics, accusing Israel of believing itself above international law, as Arab League officials warned that a religious war in the region could ignite. Over 1,000 European lawmakers also now signing a joint statement calling on Israel to stop its actions, and threatening sanctions if Israel refuses. The statement even alleging that Israel's failure to comply would encourage other states with territorial claims to disregard basic principles of international law. Meanwhile, Palestinian Authority President Abbas repeating threats to dissolve the PA, along with its cooperations with Israel. Pushing back hard, though, Israeli officials justifying the partial annexations, designed in line with the United States' Peace to Prosperity plan.
Should Israel decide to extend its sovereignty, it will be doing so with respect to areas over which it has always maintained a legitimate historical and legal claim.
Israeli Foreign Minister Gabi Ashkenazi also reminding the international community that annexations will only include some 30% of the West Bank, and not likely any of the Jordan Valley, far less than what Israel originally expected to receive as part of the Oslo Peace Accords. The United States, on the other hand, possibly walking back, with senior White House officials only now meeting to informally discuss support for Israel's annexation schedule, though reports say that no decisions have been reached. That said, United States Ambassador to the UN, Kelly Craft, turning attentions back on the Palestinians for their part in the decades-long stall in peace negotiations.
I understand that many of you have concerns with this issue of the potential extension of Israeli sovereignty in the West Bank. At the same time, we ask that you also hold the Palestinian leadership accountable for acts they are responsible for.
So who will support Israel in its push to extend its borders into Area C of the West Bank or Judea and Samaria, especially now with the United States wavering and Israeli Mossad chief Yossi Cohen landing in Jordan? Joining us in the studio to answer is founder and executive director of the Israel Institute for Strategic Studies, Dr. Martin Sherman. Dr. Sherman, it's a pleasure to have you back. Thank you so much for being here. Now,
thank you for the invitation.
Well, so I want to start with Jordan. You know, Jordanian King Abdullah II has previously said that he does not support the annexation plans, even though there are some reports saying that different things are coming out behind closed doors in Jordan. What can be achieved by this meeting?
Well, you know, I probably think that the best thing that could happen to the current regime in Israel is in Jordan is for Israel to annex the Jordan Valley, because that would put a buffer zone between the Jordan across the Jordan and any potential Palestinian state that may be established in areas that Israel doesn't annex, because I think a Palestinian state would be a force for irredentist elements in Jordan to rebel against the king. So I think the king actually has an interest in Israel annexing that territory and making sure that it doesn't become a hostile entity on his border.
Do you think that he'll say anything to that effect?
No, I don't think he'll say anything.
So publicly, I mean, really nothing will change then in terms of Jordan's perspective on the matter.
But I think in many ways Israel has been far too reticent in pushing this annexation forward. I think they were given an excellent opportunity when the plan was presented, and I think we've been humming and hawing and asking, and we've been too reluctant to push forward with it, too apprehensive, because, put it this way, there's never going to be any agreement for Israel to annex territory in Judea and Samaria. But Israel has to annex territory in Judea and Samaria to preserve its long-term security. And, you know, I don't think the situation is going to get any better. And, you know, and probably the most worrying thing is the results of the U.S. election, because we're seeing, at least if you believe the polls, you know, Trump's going to have a very hard fight, and I can think of not many scenarios that would be worse for Israel after the election than if a Democratic Party wins. So
speaking of Trump, one of President Trump's advisors, Kellyanne Conway, is saying that President Trump is going to come out with a big announcement on the annexations very soon. What do you think he's going to say?
Well, I know it's very difficult to try and prophesize and predict what Trump is going to say. But up until now, every surprise that he's brought out has been in favor of Israel. What's the alternative paradigm? Two states? Two states have been on the table now for well over a quarter of a century. So,
the Trump plan does actually make a way for a Palestinian statehood.
Well, it pays lip service to a Palestinian state, because the kind of conditions that the Trump plan puts on a Palestinian state are something that even the Palestinians wanted to comply with them, they couldn't. You know, let's see them disarm the Hamas.
We're going to have to see exactly what happens. Thank you so much for coming in, Dr.
Thank you.
All right, a Tuesday car ramming attack still under heavy question now, with the family of the suspected terrorist calling his death a murder. Israeli border police in response publishing the security footage. a gray sedan, slowly pulling up and then suddenly veering off, slamming into the checkpoint, sending one guard flying. The driver, then exiting the vehicle, shot dead by border security. To Israeli officials, it's just another in a long line of terror attacks aimed at indiscriminately killing Israelis. But to the suspect's uncle, senior Palestinian Authority official Saeb Erekat, the shooting was an execution. Erekat now demanding investigation. Erekat saying that his nephew, Ahmed Mustafa Erekat, simply lost control of his vehicle as he was making his way to his sister's wedding. Ahmed himself set to be married in another few weeks. Well, Israel is harshly rebuking this narrative. The lightly injured officer, Shani Or Hamakadosh, insisting that Erekat looked her in the eye, turned the wheel, and hit the gas. Adding credence to the terror attack narrative, Erekat filmed himself just moments before the border incident. In the video, he appears to be angry over accusations that he may be a spy for Israel, saying, "I've never betrayed my homeland," and adding, "I've brought shame on my parents and myself." Then there's also another video reportedly found on his phone in which he argues that Israel attempted to recruit him, some suspecting that in light of these video confessions, it strongly suggested that Erekat was indeed attempting to commit suicide by cop. The Israeli military court in Judea has now sentenced terrorist Assem Barghouti to 4 accumulated life sentences. He's also been charged with paying millions of shekels in compensation to his victims and their families. Barghouti, convicted in November 2019, admitted to a series of serious offenses, including 3 intentional homicides and a slew of similar attempts. Specifically, on December 9, 2018, Barghouti and his brother committed a shooting attack at the Ofra Junction, wounding 3 and killing Amiad Israel Ishran, a baby. Then, just 4 days later, he shot up the Givat Asaf Junction, in which a soldier and civilian were injured, and 2 soldiers, Sergeant Yovel Mor Yosef and Staff Sergeant Yosef Cohen, were killed. Barghouti's brother Salah was killed while attempting to escape capture, and Assam was preparing more attacks when he was caught. Meanwhile, alleged terrorist Nazmi Abu Bakr has also now officially been indicted on charges of murder. Abu Bakr accused of killing IDF Staff Sergeant Amit Benigal May 12th by dropping an 11-kilo stone atop his head from the rooftop above during an operation in the West Bank.
יש לי אמון מלא בפרקליטות, אלה שמייצגים אותנו, ואני מקווה שבעזרת השם המחבל שהחריב את עולמו של עמית, יחד איתו החריב את עולמה של אמא של עמית, את נאוה, ישלם.
More and more Israelis and Jews are now applying for European citizenship through their Sephardic origins in order to have a plan B if necessary. Sephardic Jews and their descendants are entitled to obtain Portuguese passports that allow them to live, study, and travel all over the European Union. Well, the Spanish law firm Goy Gentile has processed more than 2,000 applications by Sephardic origin, helping thousands of families to obtain the 5th most powerful passport in the world. And Harvard Law graduate Lucia Goy Mastro-Mekele accompanies us today to explain how, if you are a Sephardic Jew or a descendant of a Sephardic Jew, you have the right to obtain this European passport. Lucia, thank you so much for being with us. Now, what are the reasons that Sephardic Jews can obtain the Portuguese passport?
First, thank you so much for having me. Well, the reason is a simple reason. It's a reparation to the damage done to the Sephardic communities when the Inquisition and the Catholic kings were kicked them out, and then King Manuel from Portugal kicked them out. So first, it's a historic reparation for the damage done, and second, it's a welcome back home because it's their home. Welcome back to first Spain and then Portugal. Well, welcome back home because this is your home.
So, you know, why not Ashkenazi or Eastern European Jews, however?
Unfortunately, Portugal is limited to Sephardi because it's where the Sephardis are from Sefarad, where they were kicked out. However, for Ashkenazis, there's another opportunity with an Austrian law that comes out in September that allows the application and solicitude to the Austrian passport if you prove that you were one of the descendant of the Jewish communities expelled from the Austrian-Hungary Empire, which we have to think is a lot bigger than Austria. So this englobes a lot of more people.
All right. Well, now I understand that your firm has done more than 2,000 applications, which is amazing. You know, why do you think so many people are interested in the European passport?
Well, a European passport is a great opportunity and to many things. First, it allows you to live, travel, and work in 26 different European countries. Not only you, your spouse, and your children. Additionally, it allows you to travel to 185 countries without visa. The Portuguese passport is the fifth most valuable passport in the world, and obviously also the access to the social securities of Portugal. And I think most importantly, which unfortunately the Jewish communities know well, it's a plan B. It's a scapegoat if something goes wrong. It's a facilitation if something that unfortunately goes wrong and you need to escape. And then also with many communities, it's also a facility even to open bank accounts, to travel. It's just an array of different advantages that a European passport can give you.
All right, now we mentioned Portugal a lot, but very little about Spain. Does Spain still allow Sephardic Jews to get their Spanish passport by Sephardic origin?
Unfortunately, the Spanish law expired. If you started the application before October 1st, you are allowed to complete the application up to October 1st of 2021. However, if you did not start that application, you are not enabled to start now. But the Portuguese process is easier for people who do not speak Portuguese or Spanish, because the Portuguese process does not require any type of exam, language or cultural exam.
Wow.
So it's actually easier in that sense.
Wow. All right. So what is the process to get this European passport, and how do you help, in that process?
Well, the process is pretty simple, and at Goethe Gentile we have a great experience. If you are Jewish, it's a simple, a more fast process. You just need to send us your family tree and a certificate of a rabbi proving you are a Sephardi, Jewish, and we take care of the rest. The first step is the application to the Jewish community, and then to the ministry. If you're Anusim or crypto-Jews who are descendants of the Sephardi Jewish community, but are not practicing Jew right now, so Anusim, which is very common in Latin America, you need to send us your family tree, and with our solid network of more than 60 historians around 50 countries, we do a study and analyze that family tree in order to determine Sephardic origin. We do a historic report, which enables us to obtain the Sephardi certificate, and then we apply to the ministry also.
All right, well, and I'm sure obviously while you can go through this process on your own, your expertise and your law firm's knowledge of everything on the ground is probably a big help. Lucia, thank you so much for joining us and showing us this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time and interest.
All right, now moving focus back to the Holy Land. Even archaeologists were stumped with this next story, but not because of how old the discovery was. It's actually quite the opposite. Check it out. History is all around us, especially in Israel and even more so in Jerusalem. But not all new discoveries are necessarily ancient. The Western Wall Heritage Foundation and Israel Antiquities archaeologists showing off their latest excavations of a Jordanian munitions stash hidden under the lobby of the Western Wall tunnels.
המחסניות האלה הן מחסניות של מקלע מסוג ברן, מקלע בריטי שהיה מאוד נפוץ במלחמת העולם השנייה וגם במלחמות אחר כך, והיה חלק מהציוד הסטנדרטי של לוחמי הליגיון הירדני שישבו פה בירושלים.
The find dates back to the 1967 Six-Day War between Israel and Jordan, Egypt, Syria, Iraq, and Lebanon. And the stash was discovered by accident while excavating a water cistern.
מה שאני מחזיק פה זה דווקא, זה כידון של רובה מסוג לי אנפילד, גם רובה שהיה מאוד נפוץ בשימוש בתחילת המאה ה-20, וגם הוא היה חלק מהציוד של הליגיון הירדני פה בירושלים.
Excavators explained that apparently this is an ammunition dump that was purposely hidden by soldiers of the Royal Jordanian Army during the Six-Day War, perhaps when the IDF liberated the old city. All right, now I'm really excited for this next story. The coronavirus pandemic has affected the lives of all of us, including IDF soldiers who have not met their families for weeks. But a surprise encounter in the Negev Desert's flower fields between soldiers and international photographer Igal Slavin has led the talented photographer to volunteer, bringing photographic smiles and greetings back to the parents and family. Joining us with the gorgeous details is Igal himself. Igal, thank you so much for being with us. Now, how did your relationship with the soldiers, begin?
First of all, it's my pleasure, and it's really interesting to hear what you said right now. Listen, our soldiers are, they are brave. Our boys, our girls, they're amazing. They are doing amazing. And look at them. What can I say? One photo, it's 1,000 words. This period of time of the coronavirus, I'm leading groups of photographers for culture photography around the world. So now there is the virus, and I'm here in Israel, and I thought about how to make with my camera, with pictures, how to make our IDF soldiers proud, how to make the parents proud that they can't see the children 1 month, 1.5 months, even 2 months. They're not coming to their houses, they are in the army. So I thought about how to bring the pictures from the soldiers to the mother, to the father, to the parents.
And, how are the parents reacting?
Listen, I went to the south, to south of Israel, and I met these amazing soldiers, during sunrise, doing their job. I talked with them. They said we weren't home 2 months, and I sent the pictures to the parents. They were, they were amazed. It was really surprised. First of all, they wrote me amazing things that this is amazing surprise to see their boys, their girls, the soldiers. During this amazing thing that they are doing. So, for me, look at that. Look at the pictures.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, because these photos are amazing. So which one? I know it'll be hard to pick. Which one is your favorite?
There is one unique picture that I really love that I shot during a journey of Golani. This is the picture. They are giving the soldiers the Bible, and when I came and I saw the Quran and the Bible, and it was for me, it was really amazing. I think that our army is so unique to see everybody in one army doing amazing work together.
Absolutely. Well,
together, this is.
Well, I just want to thank you so much, because these pictures are incredible. It was a pleasure to look through them earlier, and even more so to hear you talking about them. If people watching at home, if you want to see more of these amazing photos and other photos from Igal's work, you can check them out on Instagram at IgalSlavin1212. Igal, thank you so much for being with us.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.
All right, now let's take a look at the weather forecast. The weekend looks good for enjoying the sunshine from a social distance, with lows tonight around 70 degrees Fahrenheit or 21 degrees Celsius. Then over Friday and Saturday, you can expect sunny skies and a rise in temperatures to highs of 95 degrees Fahrenheit in the north by Katzrin, 84 degrees in Tel Aviv, and 103 degrees Fahrenheit in the south, or 35, 29, and 39 degrees Celsius respectively. And now before we go, let's of course take a look at what is going viral in Israel.
Who wants to play hide and seek? 10, 9, 8, 7. Let's see. Is Lola under here? Oh my goodness. Hide and seek, Lola.
Oh, that is a smart puppy right there. My dog hides under the cushions as well, but he doesn't follow them around the floor. That is just amazing. So cute. All right, that is it for today's news. Today's exchange rate is 3.44 shekels to the American dollar. For more news from ILTV, please like ILTV on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube and Roku TV pages. I'm Aaron Porras. Thank you so much for watching.